Accumulation, no selling. Don't give a fuck if we keep on bleeding. Accumulation, no selling. Don't give a fuck if we keep on bleeding. Welcome back, guys. So I guess the inverse Jim Cramer happened today. We didn't have a Black Monday. The fear and greed is at 4. You know? Fucking 4, bro. That's insane. This is on the CNN. If you look on Coin Market Cap, though, the fear and greed is like 19. Yeah, 19. So Bitcoin right now hovering around 79. It's one that, having a little trouble around the $80,000 level. This morning we got some fake news. There was apparently a news that was released that wasn't confirmed, that turned out to be fake news about Trump putting kind of reversing their trajectory on these tariffs, saying that there was going to be a 90-day delay on the tariffs, and that shot Bitcoin up to 81,000. Yeah. And then, of course, it dumped kind of back, but it's kind of holding those levels around 80,000, right underneath it. Altcoins got a nice bounce, some of them. We're not capitulating any further at the moment, but what an epic buying opportunity last night. Some of these altcoins just got slaughtered. Pretty bad when you see this thing in extreme fear. That's the time you back the truck up and start buying shit, Like I said. Accumulation, no selling. Don't give a fuck if we keep on bleeding. The bears have come. Yeah, the bulls are getting, they're having a hard time right now. We're out here soaking in bull blood, Oh my God, this computer, man. This computer, I'm bearish on it. Anyways, something I want to talk about real quick that got me bullish. This was earlier today. When was this? This was 4 o'clock this morning. Hyperliquid 50x whale is back and has just opened a $47 million ETH long with 20x leverage. Does he know something? Okay, usually when you see things like this, they know something we don't know, Why would you gamble that much money unless you're just a fucking idiot, That's just how I look at stuff like that. Now let me go over some stuff on here. I like watching this page because I do a lot of news. 70 countries have reached out to President Trump to negotiate new trade deals, Secretary Bessent says. Just in, China tags President Trump on X with no context. What? They just tagged him for no reason, the Chinese embassy. Just in, China says it was not bound to President Trump's new tariff threats. And he also threatened to hit them with another 50% tariff. So the thing with this is, let me just play this clip real quick of this. This is just what's going on in the news today. I'm just going to play this.
Rachel, John, markets around the globe have been tumbling today, and it comes after President Donald Trump declared a 10% baseline tax on imports from all countries. Others have higher tariff rates, and last week Wall Street saw a 2-day meltdown. So this morning, countries are now scrambling. What we know so far, Japan's prime minister will speak with President Trump later today. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet with Trump in person. And all this could set the stage for how other leaders respond, especially with many now sending trade officials to Washington to talk through the crisis. Germany's economy minister is calling the tariffs nonsense. Indonesia saying it won't retaliate against their 32% tariff, but will seek negotiations. China has accused the U.S. of economic bullying. Last week, Trump put an additional 34% tariff on Chinese goods, and that's on top of 2 rounds of 10% tariffs already declared in February and March. China's retaliating with a 34% tariff on U.S. goods. Now, President Trump has remained defiant, saying on platform Truth Social, other countries had been, quote, taking advantage of the good old USA.
China is, they say the market's spoken. China is right now taking a big hit. because everyone knows we're right. They have to pay tariffs because otherwise we have a surplus and they have a surplus with us that is not sustainable. I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
Trump has called on the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said there would be a lot of waiting and watching before any decisions would be made. And the tariff effects have been widespread. The Australian dollar dropped to levels seen last time during the early pandemic. Tokyo's index dropped nearly 8% at one point today. Hong Kong's dropped 9.4%. Other global stocks took major hits as well. So investors will face more wild swings in the coming days and weeks. Market experts say there probably won't be a short-term resolution to the trade war. This is a fluid and developing situation, and we'll be monitoring it for you all morning long.
Hello,
Yeah, so basically, in my personal opinion, how many goods do you think you see from America on China's shelves? They're putting tariffs on us for what? They don't even buy shit from us. America has the biggest consumer base on this planet. So they can say they're going to retaliate, but who's buying all the goods? We are. How many goods of ours do they have on their shelves? None. That's the fucking problem, all right? They have so many regulations and barriers put in place to make it so much more competitive for American products to be sold in these countries, while meanwhile, we're selling the fuck out of all their products. I mean, almost every single product in America is made in China or some other shit, you know? And it just kind of irritates me. This needs to be done. Regardless of what it's doing to the market right now, it's just presenting us with amazing buying opportunities. People are going to get rich. The people that are smart are accumulating, and they are, banking on this to change their lives. This is a transfer of wealth right now. The money is still there. It just switching hands. People acting like that money got deleted. It didn't get deleted. Dumbasses are selling. Smart people are accumulating. When you see the fear and greed like this, if you buy and you just be patient, you will see astronomical gains. It's just a matter of time. Now, I do want to play a clip of Trump. This was today, actually, like 50 minutes ago, an hour ago. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and play this. It's like 3 minutes.
Are 3 countries that are on your list that you feel are farther along in getting their tariffs lowered?
I think there are many that want to get rid of tariffs right now. European Union, I mean, as badly as they've treated us, they've brought their car tariffs essentially off. I guess they brought it down to 2.5 a year, maybe to nothing. But it's not only tariffs, it's non-monetary tariffs. It's tariffs where they put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing. They make it so difficult, the standards and the tests. They drop a bowling ball on the top of your car from 20 feet up in the air, and if there's a little dent, they say, no, I'm sorry, your car doesn't qualify. When the same car from Germany would dent likewise, unless you can have an army tank, it's going to dent. So they come up with rules and regulations that are just designed for one reason, that you can't sell your product in those countries. And
That goes exactly to what I was just talking about, guys. These other countries have these barriers and regulations set in place to make it much more competitive for us to even get our products on the shelves in these other countries. Meanwhile, we're selling the fuck out of all their products, all their cars, all their electronics, all the, Americans are, we're some consuming ass motherfuckers over here, It's just the truth. Americans buy dumb shit. And we buy everything. We see something we want, we buy it. It's not like people in China and Russia they just don't do stuff like that over there. I mean, they do have consumer base, but it's not anywhere near like us. And this is one thing that pisses me off. All the manufacturing and stuff is on China. And we're buying it, all of them, just building their fucking wealth while they don't even buy any products from us because of their barriers and regulations. All right, let me just continue going.
we're not going to let that happen. Those are called non-monetary barriers. They make barriers that are so tough that it's impossible to qualify. So tariffs are a big part of it, but there's another big part of it, and that's barriers. They also do something else. They manipulate their currency. and they drive it down. They want to have low currencies. It sounds better to have a high currency, a strong dollar or whatever, but they bring their currency down, and when it competes with our currency, it's very hard to sell a tractor. It's very hard to sell product because their currency is low and ours is much higher relatively. And so it makes it very hard. I speak to a lot of companies that do business, tractor companies, and they say it's so hard to sell because what they've done is they've lowered the yen or they've lowered the yuan or they've lowered their currency, so then it's very hard to compete. We don't want that either. So we have a lot of things that we're talking about, but we're going to fix it properly, and it's going to be fair to everybody. And in the end, I think we're going to have a world that does a lot better, but they have to respect the United States. And nobody but me would do this. Nobody but me would do this. It would be nice to serve a nice, easy term, but we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to reset the table on trade. We lose billions of dollars. We lose close to $2 trillion a year on trade. We lose $1 trillion a year to China. $1 trillion. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade to China. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars overall, probably close to $2 trillion. Why would we do that? Number one, why would we do that? And then you have to say, is it sustainable? Then you hear about all of the people that say, well, deficits. If we have a deficit with the country, or if the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive surplus that they take and they spend on their military. Well, we don't want that. I don't want them to take $500, $600 billion a year and spend it on their military. I don't want them spending money on their military. And I shouldn't have to spend money. We shouldn't have to spend it either. Because, hopefully, and I said this to President Xi, hopefully it's money that we're never going to use. In other words, because we're not going to use those incredible weapons that we have and that they have. We don't want that.
Well spoken. Hopefully, some of these clips I'm playing for you guys help you understand what's going on a little bit more and why these things are in play. It's time to, everything was propped up on a money printer. We were spending too much money, being taken advantage of. All these numbers and stuff were basically, while Biden was office, were just manufactured for him to look good, to get reelected when it was all basically propped up on a money printer. Trump came in here, he hit the reset button. He's trying to figure out ways to keep things sustainable. Well, the path we were on is not sustainable. Long term, it's not. You can't just keep swiping a credit card and never paying the bill. That's basically what they were doing. Okay, that's the best way I can explain it to you. It's like giving a credit card to a 13-year-old girl and sending her to the mall. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to swipe the fuck out of that card for hours, all day. And then you just tell them, oh, look, you can go back every day of the week and keep buying shit. That's what they were doing. And then guess who's paying the bill? We are, with inflation. Okay? That's exactly what's happening. So everything had to get reset. Hopefully his plan works, guys. Here's something I do want to read. Crypto bull market hasn't started yet. I kind of agree. And I just want to read some little things about this. Let me scroll on down. We never had a bull market, but rather two sides of the market. We had Bitcoin where all the flows went into ETFs, and then you have pockets of things, such as meme coin frenzy and other short-term trends, he said. I actually think the real question is, when does the bull market come? If you ask me, that's going to be Q3 and Q4 of this year. Beyond short-term price action, it helps to look at the big picture, especially in the U.S., said John Patrick Mullen, the co-founder and CEO of Mantra. Mullen said he's excited about all of the favorable policy tailwinds coming from the United States, including the executive branch. This goes into the favorable policy, bad macro environment. U.S. President Donald Trump is overseeing an overhaul of crypto regulations in Washington, with lawmakers moving closer to passing landmark stablecoin and market structure bills. Trump has also appointed pro-crypto leaders to various positions, chief among them being Paul Atkins, who recently moved one step closer to securing the nomination as chair of the Securities and Exchange Mission. However, these positive developments have failed to kickstart the bull market or bring meaningful capital flows into the industry, largely because Trump's other agenda ideas, namely tackling perceived trade imbalances, have triggered growth fears. Trump's Liberation Day tariffs on April 2nd were perceived by many investors as an egregious attempt to rewrite the terms of global trade as it went beyond the 10% universal tariffs proposed initially. The tariff announcement triggered the largest exodus from U.S. stocks since COVID-19 pandemic. However, if past crises like COVID-19 are anything to go by, the U.S. Federal Reserve will likely step in at some point to backstop the market should things get progressively worse. Like I said, they could come in and do an emergency rate cut, guys. If not, they probably will cut rates in May or June, or July, I mean. So, another thing to look at. Let me just pull up the CME FedWatch tool. Because this is what I use. It's a tool that basically determines, it's like a tool to see what the Fed's, their likelihood of them cutting rates. The next meeting's in 29 days, May 7th. All right, so right now, it's at a 32% chance of ease at the next meeting in May. Now, if you go to the next one, let's see what the June meeting, 99%. Bruh, 99%. Okay, let's go to the July. 99.9%. Let's go, my boy. It's looking more and more like we're getting them rate cuts, all right? And this number could easily go up in May if the market keeps capitulating and especially the inflation data coming out. Matter of fact, it comes out this week. Comes out this week, guys. I think Thursday and Friday. Let me pull this up real quick. Yep, Thursday, initial jobless claims, CPI. Friday, producer price index. So yeah, Thursday and Friday are going to be big days. It's going to be some volatility. Hopefully we get some lower than expected inflation data and we pump. You know, at least maybe some of these markets will start pricing in the Fed rate cut because that number might go up quite substantially from 32% to maybe like 50%, you know? But yeah, that's about all I got for you guys. I just want to remind you again, when you see this 4, that is extreme fear. All right, it doesn't get much lower than that, you know? Doesn't get much fucking lower than 4. The bears have fucking came, and it's time to take advantage and get rich as fuck. Hold down the fort, gentlemen. If you guys are getting any value, please like and subscribe to my channel. And, you know, take advantage of this shit, bro. It's you only get a few opportunities like this every like 5 to 10 years. This is when you get rich. I'm telling you, not financial advice. It's what I'm doing. Whenever I see that fear and greed like this, god damn, it's time to seriously start getting serious and start buckling down and building your portfolio up. Start beefing that son of a bitch up. Start feeding it rice and beef and steak. You know, then when that thing climbs up here to extreme greed, start mashing the sell button and getting astronomical gains. Gentlemen, hold down the fort.